Well, I didn't know what could be new for this week's episode of the podcast. Still wearing the merch, not like I'm not gonna, but I decided I'm not going to crack a beer this week because I don't know why. This is going to be a very lazy episode.
The Honestly Lazy Podcast.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Honestly Lazy Podcast with your host, me, Mr. BoyStick. I hope you had a good week. I kind of paused there. Holy shit, I'm very tired. It's been a long week for me. I've been working lots of OT this week to make a little bit of extra money for a few things. Obviously, the big thing is to actually buy a house one day, you know. In this economy, it'll never happen. But one day, maybe I'll have enough money to actually buy a house. But for now, I guess this apartment will do. But, yeah, it's been a long week for me. Working a bunch of overtime. You know, just trying to get ahead of this crazy rat race that is life. But, you know, people, this week alone, a lot more people are telling me that they're listening to the podcast. So I'd like to thank the new people for listening. I gained a couple subs from the last episode, so thank you very much for that, who subscribed. Boost the motivation. If you're new to the channel, you know, on YouTube, type in the Honestly Lazy Podcast. That shit does pop up, and all you gotta do is subscribe. If you've been here for a while, I think you should subscribe and support the content. And you can also find me on Spotify. Type in the Honestly Lazy Podcast. That shit will pop up. And you can follow me on there too to get up to date latest episodes. So you know what I am always doing on Spotify. I'm also on Apple Podcasts and all that type of stuff. I'm on a lot of things thanks to Anchor.fm. But, yeah. This week alone was a crazy week to think about because I went on my social media pages, like my personal ones and everything, and posted about the merch for everybody to actually see. Me and my girlfriend actually decided to do a little photo shoot. The photos will probably be up on BoyStick soon. They'll probably be up by the time this episode actually comes out. We decided I'd pose with a beer and just kind of hang out and take some pictures, like, you know, me hanging out with my merch on and stuff, trying to be a model. I had a model in college for people, because nobody wanted to model in college for photography, so I always did, because I was like, yeah, fuck it, it's better than taking the picture, because I sucked at photography. But we had a lot of fun with it, and I got a lot of feedback, a lot of people, a lot of buddies, a lot of people saying, when can I get some merch? So, I mean, I'm still in the position right now where I'm not going to sell any yet. I'm just still rocking it out. I mean, I washed this to see if it would shrink, and it didn't. The big thing right now is I need to find a, like, Printful's great. Like, I'm still going to buy the hats from that website, but I need for the clothes somewhere a bit closer to me. I've had a few people actually tell me to, like, where to go. Or closer. I just, with the shipping and everything, I don't think I'd make a lot of profit off of the merch from going off Printful.com because I live in Canada. And yeah, I had to pay shipping and stuff, and it was gnarly. So I was kind of like, okay, we need to find another way to do this. I'm going to do more research. I think there's a way in Printful where I don't know, like, I don't really have to do a lot, but I'm just very lazy. I'm not bashing Printful at all. It was a great website, and it turned out some of the best merch. Like, I fucking love my hat. Like, this is my everyday hat now. I shit you not. When I go out and hang out with people, I rock my Honestly Lazy hat. So they did good. It's just I need somewhere where I'm not spending a lot of money on shipping to get it to me so I can start selling it to people locally. Down the road, it'll probably be online, so anybody else can buy. I'll probably start up a website at some point, start selling merch there or something. I don't really know where I'm really gonna go in the future for honestly, like, a website and stuff, like with the Honestly Lazy Podcast. Like with the way I'm doing shit right now, it's just like a radio show, and I'm having a lot of fun. And I know a lot of, like, podcasts do have their own websites, and, you know, I do think about it a lot because I would do it so you could get like bonus clips and shit like that on the website where you couldn't be able to see on like YouTube or something like that. Try to get viewership over to the website. I'd have merch. I'd have giveaways and all that type of stuff. That's down the road type stuff. I did want to start up a website before I was 25, but that never happened. I'm 26, going on 27 now, so it's a few years behind. It's been crazy. But I mean, slowly but surely, I am getting merch done, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And like I said, people were coming up to me saying like I checked out your podcast and shit. So new people are listening. That's awesome. I hope it gets shared. More people listen to it because it is a fun little experience. Now, the one thing I talked about last week, and I still don't know what the hell is going on with it, was I was supposed to be on the Hodder shows. I had an interview with him. Like he interviewed me for his podcast. I might have fucked up and said it was coming out last week, but it never did. So I haven't really messaged him. I'm not trying to bash him either. I'm just kind of like, fuck, did I fuck up? But I'm pretty sure that it should be out at this week. I hope it is, because I had a lot of fun on that. But maybe I said something or something went bad and he just can't put it up. But I hope he does, because I had a lot of fun on it. And it was 4 years later from my first interview with him. And it'd be nice to see like 4 years later how much we both changed. Because I feel like in that interview it really does show. I had a lot of fun on that interview, and I really hope he does decide to post it. If he doesn't, whatever. He's advanced so much where I am still kind of like just doing my own thing with my own podcast. Like he went straight, at this point, he was still just kind of himself. Like he would bring a couple people on. Like pretty much how I'm doing it now is where he was literally at the same point that I'm at right now. So like we're on two totally different levels. Like he's like advanced. He's interviewing people every week and making it into a more professional thing. Where me, I'm like, I'm making it into a radio show, something fun, something for everyone kind of deal. But it is funny to see one buddy of mine has been listening to the podcast, but he isn't starting it where I'm telling people to start at, where I kind of turn into a radio show where there's different segments and all that type of stuff. No, he started straight from the first episode, and I mean, it doesn't bug me. I wouldn't say any of the old ones are cringe, like episode 1 or 2 or any of them, honestly, but it's just like I've advanced so much from that where I'm just kind of like, shit, you should have started with the good things. Like the old ones are good, but I like the way everything's going now. But with everything, with the podcast and everything, with life, holy shit, I need a vacation. I would like to say right now, I'm giving a shout out to my fan, to my good buddy, Ty Jones, who, when this episode comes out on this Friday, February, I don't know what the date will be. Let's see, February 11th, my buddy and like one of the number one supporters of the podcast will be in Mexico having a vacation with his girlfriend. I hope you have a good time, buddy. You deserve it. But fuck you, man. I really want a vacation. But his type of vacation and my type of vacation are, I feel like we're on totally different levels. Like his vacations, he wants to go sit on the beach and hang out with his girlfriend and, just hang out, have a couple drinks. My vacation, I've tried to do that, really. I did try to sit on a beach and just kind of hang out. And not because of anything in particular. I don't want to get into that vacation, but I came home early because this shit hit the fan and I had to get the fuck out of Cuba. I wasn't doing anything illegal or anything. I just like anxiety and shit, just gnarly. I had to get out of there. I've realized from that vacation if there's one thing I gotta do is I need a vacation where I see things, but I also need a vacation where I can drink until I can't fucking stand anymore. So it's pretty much like an all-inclusive, but I do you go on a bus and they take you and you go sightseeing, like one of those type of things. That's what I realized. Maybe I should do something like that instead of just sitting on a beach getting drunk. That's why my favorite type of vacations has always been camping. Now, it is the poor man's thing to do. Probably the reason why I like camping so much because my parents never took me to Cuba, to Disney World, to Florida, or anything like that. I never got to have the trips like that when I was growing up. I got to go sit in the woods and, like, you know, hopefully not get eaten by a bear. But I always loved camping. Let me rephrase that. I hated camping as a kid. Because as a kid, all you want to do is play video games and hang out with your friends and do dumb stuff. Where you get that taken away from you when you go camping with your family, you know. And usually you're at the age where you're like, your parents are annoying you and your brothers are just going to be mean to you the whole weekend. And it's just like camping was... For one part of my life, it was really not anything I wanted to do. I'd rather stay home and not get eaten by mosquitoes. But once life started to really kick me in the ass and, like, you know, bills started coming out and the whole thing of hating your job started happening. I don't hate my job now, but there was a point where I really fucking hated my job. That's back at Tim Hortons. Camping became, like, my favorite thing to do. Go sit in the woods where you had no cell reception, where no one could call you. They can't call you and say, hey, can you come into work? And you would just sit there and just realize, I don't have to do a thing. When you're a kid, you're like, all you want to do is run around, have fun, go on the playground, hit jumps with your bike, or go skateboarding or something like that. When you hit, like, adulthood, where, like, bills and all that type of shit, you're just like, I just want to sit and do fucking nothing. I want to sit in a lawn chair, drink beer, and just forget that I even have a job. It's a crazy the way everything changes. My big thing was the whole Mosport was the big game changer for me because it involves camping and racing and a concert. That was when the game changer of camping was happening. Was when I finally went up and tried out Mosport because I've talked about it in an old episode, but dude, let me tell you, when you got up to Mosport and you got to see the cars go vroom vroom, and then you drink until you fall on the ground, and you play guitar until 4 a.m, it's a hell of a good time. I'm telling you. The only shitty thing is the 3-day recovery period after you go back to work. I've learned that if I'm going up to Mosport, I need to book the Monday off too, because you definitely need at least one full day of not fucking doing a thing, or you'll go back to work and screw everything up for you and everybody you're working with. Been there, done that. Gnarly time. But it is coming. It's been 2 years where I haven't really had... I've taken time off, but I haven't, like, you know, been like, I want to go and do something for like a week. Like, I haven't done anything where it's like, I want to go camping for a week and sit in the woods. I haven't done anything where it's like, I want to go to Cuba or Mexico and just sit on the beach. It's been 2 years since I've done anything like that, which is really weird because my whole life, like when I first started working at 16, I've booked like one whole week off in a row. Like, I like to divide it all up. And, you know, just take a couple days off here or there, make a weekend a little bit longer or something like that. And I'm actually doing that for the Family Day long weekend. If you're American, you're listening to this, we get a long weekend in February called Family Day. I know it makes absolutely no fucking sense because, you know, it's in the middle of the goddamn winter. And, like, what are you going to do with your family in the winter? Just hang out and sit in the fucking, like, snow and go ice fishing? No, you don't. I guarantee you half the people don't even go and see their family. Well, okay, if you have young kids, then yes, you'll hang out with your kids. But, I mean, like, when you're like older, all you want to do is just the past 3 family days, it was probably a hangover day for me. So, you know, I've definitely grown up. This Family Day long weekend, I made it extended, and I'm probably not going to go see my family. Well, yeah, I'll go see my family, but because I got a nephew now. But I'm probably just going to take a couple more days off and just sit on my ass and do nothing, or record the podcast, or go to Long and McQuaid and play expensive guitars I can never afford. I just needed a couple days off because, like, I'm starting to realize as I get older and I'm, for some reason, getting more responsibilities at my job. No, I'm joking. I signed up for the more responsibilities. It's like, it's amazing when I, like, how I started my job just as a laborer, how much I really didn't need to book off any time. I just kind of wanted to just work and then hang out with my friends on the weekends. Where now it's like, fuck it, I don't care if everybody's working. I'm not doing anything then. I'm just going to hide out and forget that anybody exists. It's kind of crazy to think that in the 3 years of me working this job that's where it's really come to. But it also makes me wonder when it comes to, like, if I actually got into podcasting, somehow I got a full-time job off of it, or I was able to do this full-time, what I'd really do with it. I've really thought about it. If I could do Honestly Lazy full-time, I would rent out an office space and I would build the studio in an office space. I'd drive to work every day still. I'd probably still do like 7 till whatever time I get home. I wake up at 7 in the morning, have my coffee, and go to the office and record, talk to people, get interviews set up, and all that type of stuff. I would really, like, that's the one thing is I've learned with myself is that I love to actually work. Like, I don't want a job where I can work from home, and if this blew up, I'd make it so I'd still have to go to work and make something like it, or still make it like a work life, because there's no way. I couldn't sit at home and do nothing. I would have to literally make it feel like I'm going to work, but it's just podcasting. But that's one of the most exciting things about if I ever made it as a podcaster and started making it, like, making decent money, I would definitely have a sick ass studio. And that's the most exciting part. Well, it's the most expensive but exciting part, buying new equipment. You know, I'd buy like a PC that's only meant for like the podcast. I would do everything. I'd buy cameras. Oh my god. Oh, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But honestly, I really do need a vacation. I can't wait for the couple days off. And hopefully with those couple of days off, I can get into make an amazing podcast episode. I'm not saying this one won't be amazing, but there'll definitely be better ones when I get a couple of days off and fucking get my mind going. Because right now, I literally am sitting here like, fuck, what am I even talking about? No, I'm just joking. I know what I'm talking about. I kind of want to start off just saying like I need a vacation, kind of vent about that. And then I just kind of blabber on about random shit. But hey, it works, you know. This is the Honestly Lazy podcast. This is how I do things, okay? Don't think I won't do it any other way than Honestly Lazy. This is me. Oh my god, everyone's going to think I do coke. I don't. My nose is stuffed up. I don't have COVID either. Don't even fucking say that. But, yeah, I kind of want to keep things going the way they are. But I definitely need a couple days off. Yeah, I keep going off topic. I literally was sitting here. I've been at work sitting there thinking about what am I going to talk about? I have nothing. But I'm sure by the end of this episode, I'll think of a few other things and probably a random video of the week. Now, welcome to the Honestly Lazy Shower Beer Quote of the Day. You've never really lived until you sat in a garage, drank beer, and smoked darts until you can't see the guy across from you. That's one hell of a good night. It's been a shower beer quote of the day. This has been your Honestly Lazy shower beer quote of the day. So I decided to get a beer, and I decided against making a random video of the week this week. You got your shower beer quote of the day, so you should be happy with that. But, you know, down the road, there will be more random videos of the week. I'm just picking the best one for right now. I'm sorry. You can just listen to me talk. I know it's annoying. You probably just come here for the random video of the week. I'm sorry. Shit happens, man. I didn't want to do a random video of the week. Just wanted to sit here and fucking talk, okay? It's been a long work week. The last thing I can really fucking do is focus and try to make fun of a video, which is not going to happen. Look at my eyes. I'm not high right now. My eyes are just very low and bloodshot. I don't smoke weed. Okay? There's one thing I really do notice about my generation. God, that really felt like me just starting up another joke. That felt like a stand-up comedian moment. There's one thing I'd always notice about my generation is how they always sit there and say, man, I was born in the wrong generation. Like, I was born in the wrong year. Why was I born in 95? I should have been born in, like, 60s and lived through the 70s and 80s. All this type of shit that I hear all the time. And I've been, like, I've said it even myself. Man, sometimes I wish I was born in a different year. And the more I really thought about it, the more that I was like, man, I would never survive, especially if I was like a teenager in the 80s. I probably would have never survived the 80s. I probably would have never survived like the 70s, 80s, like the 90s. I was born, by the time I like was the fucking like old enough to realize where I was, it was 2000. So the 90s, pretty much all I remember is their kick-ass cartoons. But besides that, buddy, times have changed, and I just want to say right now, like, this is like zero fucking research right now from your boy here. All right, I sit here and wallow in my own brain sometimes and just be like, fuck, like, this just popped up in my head. Oh, everyone wants to say they want to live in the 80s, and then I sat there and thought of the good things, and I thought there's a lot more bad than good. So I'm going to explain it to the people, like, from a point of view of a guy who didn't grow up in the 80s. Only a guy who just, like, you know, heard stories from his mom and pa about the 80s, 70s, or whatever. So, like, and I'm going to break it down of why my generation, all these people who think they were born in the wrong generation, trust me, you fucking weren't. Alright, so let's just break this down real quick. I have a couple notes of what I can remember. So the first thing and the most basic thing about why you never survived the 80s, there's no social media. There wasn't even fucking internet. And if there was, it was dial-up. And I know a lot of you say, I wish I grew up in the 80s. You probably didn't live through the era of dial-up. Where I actually heard on the radio today that it's down to the thousands of people who have dial-up still. Dial-up was a fucking nightmare, man. You'd be in the middle. I'd be playing RuneScape when I was like 5 years old. Or like 7 years old, I'd be ripping some RuneScape, and my mom would have to make a phone call and not tell me, disconnect me, I lose everything in my game. It was a terrible, terrible experience. Like, dial-up, hands down, was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Good thing everything advanced for the internet. Like, it took me a while to start enjoying the internet. Once YouTube came around, life got a little bit better. But for a while there, I didn't have a lot of use for the internet, and you know, I kind of missed the days where there was no social media, because nowadays, like, everybody, I'm addicted to social media. I'm addicted to it like I don't know. What's a good joke? I can't think of anything. I'm very addicted to social media. I'm on my phone a lot. I need to get the fuck over that. But back in the 80s, where all these people think, oh man, I would live there. Yeah, there's no social media. And you might be saying, like, oh, that I could live without it. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. Nobody in their right minds would go back to that. I guarantee you my parents would be like, I'd go back to the 80s for a few things, but, like, without my cell phone, no. Like, life without TikTok, no thank you. The cringy TikToks, not the stupid dancing ones. Like, if you had no social media, how would people know that you're living your best life? How would Logan Paul be able to show you that he's living in this $7 million mansion? How would Jake Paul be able to show you he's buying a new Ferrari? It would probably be a better world if those guys didn't have social media, but unfortunately they grew up in the same era as us, and they have it, and they can show up us that they are living their best lives. And I mean, this is a lot of people. I see a lot of people, even my own friends, sit there and say that shit. Man, you're not living your best life and shit. No shit. My best life would be fucking no bills, have a house that I don't have to pay for, and go to work when I feel like it, and then just chill for the days I don't want to. But guess what? My best life will never fucking exist. My best life will it's just dead in the ground before it even gets up in the air, alright? It's just never gonna happen. And nobody is ever really living their best life. They sit there, they post on their social medias. Here's what they do. They'll go, let's say you're up in BC, right? You're up in Alberta. You'll take your cell phone and you'll be like, selfie, take a picture in front of the mountains. And then you're going to sit there on your phone and post everywhere and just watch your phone and see the likes that you get for your stupid photo instead of enjoying the view. I sure hope not a lot of people do that, but I know there's people that will go up to BC or Alberta and just be on their phone the whole time. They take their pictures and then just be on their phone like, yeah. The biggest, so the biggest thing is just like, it'd be better like that. It drives me nuts seeing all these people living their best lives because sometimes I actually believe it. And it's a terrible thing to say. I wish I didn't. But yes, I believe that some people are actually living a good life. But my mind always just goes to mommy and daddy paid for it. That's why they're doing it. And it makes me feel so much better. It's probably a lie half the time. But when I just say mommy and daddy paid for it, I calm down. I don't know. So yeah, no social media in the 80s. No one would really care what you're doing with your life. You would have to pick up a telephone, use the old rototiller phone. Half of you don't even know how to use it. I've seen the Reaction Brothers when they give them the rototiller phone. They don't even know how to dial it. You would never see your friends again because you'd be too scared to knock on their fucking doors. There's a lot. Like the 80s were struggling times. Teenagers would go on roofs and huck eggs at kids on Halloween. It was like a war zone probably in the 80s. These are just, like I said, these are things that my parents told me. All I remember is my dad said I never went uptown Orono on Halloween night when I was a kid because the teenagers would climb on the roofs and huck eggs at us. This was like a normal thing for the 80s. So like if you don't like being picked on by older kids, you would never survive the 80s because that's all it was. I got picked on a little bit, but let me tell you, if I was in the 80s, I never got stuffed in a locker, but I definitely would have if I grew up in the 80s. Another thing about the 80s that makes me realize a lot of kids my age or this generation will not survive them is that there wasn't the labor laws like they have now, where it's like, after 9 hours, you have to go home, or after so many days of working, you have to take legally 2 days off. Back in the 80s, it didn't work like that. Now, this is stories from what my father told me. My dad told me that one day he was doing a snowstorm. He was doing snow removal at a mall, and he said it was snowing so bad that it literally, he plowed for 32 hours straight. So imagine that, doing 32 hours of snow removal and your breaks were like a quick cigarette and breakfast, lunch, and a quick dinner, and you gotta get back to work. That was it. And you just worked and worked and worked. Now, I'm saying this because I actually worked with people who got pissy after 5 hours of working and requested to go home. I've seen people, literally someone yell at them and they run off crying because the person yelled at them. I have seen people just literally, someone says, dude, you're not doing that properly, you should do it like this, and they will quit their job because they were told to do something. Now, if you think doing that now is okay, guess what? In the 80s, they just fucking fire you. There would be no HR where it's like, I need to talk to your HR about this. We need to figure this out. No, you just be fucking fired, and they'd be like, yeah, don't come back. There was no like, oh my god, are you seriously trying to fire me? Give me your HR. Give me everybody above you. I'm getting you in trouble. Like, it didn't work like that. It was just like, fuck you, you're fired. Good luck. Should have been a fucking idiot. You can't show up fucking an hour late. You can't sit there and be like, I don't work at 6:30 in the morning. I work better around 10 or 11. It didn't work like that. You, like, back in the day, you showed up on time and you worked until you were told to go home. That's the way it was. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't exist nowadays. I know a lot of seasonal jobs, they work crazy hours just because they only got one season to do it. And if it rains a lot, you're fucked. And so it's still kind of around nowadays, but you really work hard to, like, you work hard, you work long, And sometimes I knew like my one buddy was doing paving for dog shit money. He was working like 16-hour days. Where like a lot of other people I know, like, I'm not working that long for that low of a pay. That's disgusting. I worked a lot of overtime at minimum wage. It fucking sucks, but like for me, I grew up in a household kind of like the 80s, where it's like when you were old enough, my dad would put us to work, make us do random shit, pick weeds, fucking cut the grass. One time he literally made us sledgehammer all the sidewalking from around our house because he's putting new ones down. And it was just the little things like that like made it like that just taught me work ethic. And I feel like with a lot of kids, I'm not even blaming the parents. It's just kids like, I just don't want to work. When I was in high school, kids were like, I'm not working fast food. I'm going to go work in a grocery store. So like back in the 80s, you did what you did. Another thing in the 80s my parents told me is their parents stopped paying for their clothes and shit when they were like, let's see, I think 10. My mom and dad were working summer jobs at the age of 10 because if they didn't, they'd be wearing shoes that didn't fit, or their clothes would get small or something like that. They had to buy their own things. So not only are you working long hours, but you start working not at 16, it was like 10 years old, you get to fucking work. Or you're not getting close tonight. Now, I'm sure it wasn't like that for everybody, but with my parents, it really, really, really was a thing. So, yeah, if you didn't like starting work at 16, I knew like there was people who didn't even get their first job until out of high school. I was working literally the day after I turned 16. My dad made me get a job. So, I don't know. I feel like that would be a big thing. You don't like working your fucking 5 hours at Tim Hortons? Good luck in the 80s. Another thing, and this is just a terrifying fact about the 80s, that drinking and driving was tolerated way different in the 80s. Maybe this was just a small town thing, but from what my dad told me, the worst that they would do to you was take your beer and say, go home, don't let me see you out here for the rest of the night. That's how they dealt with it back then. There were so many more deaths back then. I would probably be dead just from that. Honestly, it was a fucked up thing, man. My dad had told me some shit about the 80s. My dad lost friends because of drunk drivers. I think every friend my dad actually lost was to a drunk driver. That's how crazy it was back then. On top of the fact that, you know, you'd be out on a Saturday night and the drunk people would like hug beer bottles and shit at you. It was just a gnarly time. Grade 9 initiation, they would fucking paddle the shit out of you. I got paddled by my buddies just so they'd say, oh, I protect you. And I got like hit in the ass twice with a skateboard, like with the grip tape side. And I was initiated. Back then, they would paddle you very badly. And it was just, you drank and drove. Like, everybody did it. It was fucked. Like parents would drive around with beers. Like, it was nuts. It's just the way it was. It was an unsafe fucking time. And if you are against drinking and driving now and you went back to the 80s, let me tell you something. With the personality you got now, you wouldn't last. You'd be at home with no friends. I'm sorry. It's just the way it was. Another thing that is a fact. All you millennials are way too big of pussies to survive the 80s. If you get offended by Dave Chappelle now, that's what from what I've watched of the 80s, it was all offensive shit. That's all it was. It was just people being fucking offensive. They were being edgy. They were experimenting with their craft of comedy. And you guys would try to cancel that shit real quick. But back in the day, I think they would fight for the creators more than just bow down because of a fucking Reddit review or Netflix review or a Twitter hashtag. You would not survive the 80s with how offended you get with everything. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Now, the 80s did have a few good things. First of all, beer, very cheap. Very, very cheap. Now, minimum wage back then I think was like $2 or something. I forget what minimum wage was back then. I'd have to ask my dad. It was nuts though. It was not a lot. But gas, I wish if we could go back to the 80s, the only thing I wish is that the beer prices were the same. Happy hours still in Ontario. I'd probably like try to go to a couple bands and be like, don't do these decisions because you'll fucking die from it. The mortgages. See, everyone always said all the houses were cheaper back then, but there was like, I'm pretty sure the big thing was like, where nowadays it's like a 2% mortgage rate. Back then it was like 10 to 20 or some shit like that. So the percentage was fucking through the roof. So I don't know about that, but if we could go back to those gas prices, like my dad said, to fill up a truck was $8. If we go back to those gas prices, that's great, because right now in Ontario, we're going to, like, by the summer, we're probably going to hit $2 for a liter of gas, or for a tank of gas, or what is it? I don't know. It's going to be like $2 for gas, and that's going to be very bad for my dad who drives a truck. I got a Kia Rio, so I should be okay. But for all the people who own trucks and shit, you're going to have to be millionaires for fucking $2. Oh, my province is going to shit. Oh, I don't want to get into it. Nope, not talking about it. You wouldn't survive the 80s, and I'm not talking about anything that's happening in Ontario right now. We are a big joke, honestly. Trucker convoys, I'm not, like, I don't even know what to think of it anymore. I was for them, then I was kind of against them, and now I'm just kind of like, well, they're just blaring horns and trying to make a difference, I guess, in their own way. Stop blaring your horns, and I'll kind of support your protest. But, yeah. Just wanted to drop a couple facts. Oh, another thing for the 80s. Weed fucking sucked back then.
Honestly Lazy Podcast.
Well, the Honestly Lazy Podcast is a bunch of things. It's like a radio show where I just kind of act like a radio host, something I've kind of always wanted to be, but never went to school for it because I decided to go to school for film. That's where I kind of blew it in life. I feel like if I went to school for like radio or something, I'd be great at it. No, I wouldn't. Unless I was on Sirius XM, I probably would be fired by now with everything that I kind of do. With the swearing and the videos I pick to make fun of. And the fact that I make fun of videos, I'm pretty sure it would be pretty edgy for the radio. So I don't know. I mean, the radio game has changed a lot. I do like a few of the morning radio shows. I'm old school. I love listening to the radio shows. But it's been a while since the Honestly Lazy Podcast has been inviting anything through via email. I always seem with BoyStick to get random sponsorship like opportunities. The last one was like a toothpaste brand or something like that they wanted me to be a part of, and I didn't trust it. I don't trust a lot of shit that people email me and say, oh, we want to sponsor the podcast. I've never really trusted it. Like, I feel like down the road I will myself be trying to get sponsors, like going out and trying to get sponsors if I get a big enough following. But with everything right now, I don't trust anything if someone's trying to sponsor me. I have nothing. I have like 62 subscribers and no views and nothing that I could bring to the table that's like worthy of anything. So it was kind of weird to get an email literally today saying that I was invited to something. Now, like I say, I want to grow this podcast. I've said it at the beginning of this episode, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember. But, I want to grow it. Like I said, I want to do a website and stuff like that. But the one thing I have never really thought about doing with the Honestly Lazy Podcast is turn it into music. Now, let me explain to you. I just got an email of an official invitation for the Honestly Lazy Show to perform at the Further Future Digital Music Festival. Live stream February 21st to 25th. So it says, ready to find more fans and earn more money, perform in the digital festival is a great way to build the Honestly Lazy fan base. Last month's digital festival was incredible. Over 800 artists performed and thousands of fans. 2,000 fans. We want you to perform at the festival on whatever website. Takes place between Monday, February 21st to Friday, February 25th. The top prize is $3,000. Artist success package includes $1,000 cash, $1,000 pay ads, and $1,000 with the music industry. This is automatically to me a scam. I think it's just a random bot site or something just sending out to random shit that they find on Spotify. My podcast being on Spotify, they sent me an invitation to perform at a music festival. Honestly, I think I might do it. Why not? I could come out and strum my old guitar. I got a couple songs I could play for the people. I definitely would be dead last. I can't even sing. But it would be funny to see me go out or do a live stream from this great non-soundproofed room with a big echo and try to play my music. It's so funny to think about. Like, the last sponsor I really got, it was for, I think it was toothpaste or something like that. And their whole thing was, we will pay you, but you gotta pay for your first box, and you gotta do an unboxing video and all this type of shit. Like, if you watch my content, you do realize I don't do unboxing videos. I would do an unboxing video for my merch, which will be coming out. I haven't even looked at that footage yet. I do have a lot of, like, I don't do unboxing videos. Especially if, like, they're going through BoyStick, we love your channel and shit. Dude, that was commentary. That was a commentary channel where I make fun of everybody and everything. So the fact that in the middle of my video of, like, bashing fucking rice gum, you see me pop up and say, this video is sponsored by fucking toothpaste. Like, what? No. I don't even know what kind of company would even sponsor this podcast, to be honest with you. To me, it'd probably be like I don't know, like Dollar Shave Club or something like that. That's the only thing that, because I got a beard. Or maybe like clothing. There's not a lot that this show, like, it's the Honest Lazy show, so I don't know where the hell it's really going to be directing people towards. So I should do the festival and just, you know, play my guitar, and then maybe I'll get a sponsorship for some, I don't know, other, like, Plan B skateboarding. Yeah, give me a sponsor. I always like RDS. I like their clothing. Sponsor me. Or you know what? How about this? Budweiser, sponsor me. Busch Light sponsored, you betcha. Budweiser, sponsor me. I drink enough of your beer. I give you enough of my money. Give me free beer. In a beer fridge. I have nowhere to put it. Alright, I think that'll do it for this week's episode of the Honestly Lazy Podcast. Oh god. It's been such a long week. Working. I decided to work overtime this week, and I thought I could do a podcast and do overtime at the same time. Turns out I still can, but it's very, 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 very tiring. So that's why no random video of the week or anything like that. But, you know, what can you do? There will be more random videos of the week. Don't worry. It's not done. It's actually one of the fun parts of the podcast. I have a lot of fun doing it. So it will be coming back. If you made it this far in the podcast, might as well like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Spotify. Go down below and show some love on the social medias. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. Hopefully a link for the Hodder Show interviews down there. I'm still not sure. By the time this is out, because I'm done recording this on Wednesday, right? So I'm done recording on Wednesday. So I hope Thursday it will be out. This is, and if it is, the link for that will be down below. I really hope it comes out this week. I had a lot of fun on there. I hope he doesn't scrap it. Or at least send it to me and I'll just post it on mine. Fuck it, whatever. It's content, you know, it's me being interviewed. Holy shit, my new hat, man. My headphones keep falling off. I need to adjust them. There you go. Yeah, so that will do it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hopefully will see you next week. You never know. Work's busy, but I will always try to make time for you. All right, until next time, it's your boy Stick. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.
The Honestly Lazy Podcast.